So I wrote those down, okay, so we'll come back to those,
Yeah.
all right, okay. So I need to check with you if you ever had any past episodes of feeling ill. I think
No.
you said no, okay. So you've never had any treatment before?
No.
Are you on any other treatments for anything at the moment?
No.
Okay. You've mentioned alcohol, that you're not drinking at all at the moment because it was social house drinking, you don't drink in the house. How about any drugs, sort of over-the-counter medication?
No.
Okay. Any illicit and drugs?
No.
Okay. You told me that you smoke and that you're 20 a day. Do you want to change that at all?
It's no, I've not given an awful lot of thought.
Okay,
really.
so you're not at the moment where...
Yeah.
I certainly can refer you to a smoking cessation sort of service if you want to. So there's something to think about, just from a health point of view. Okay. What about caffeine intake?
I don't drink coffee, I do drink tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay. How much tea do you drink? Because tea has caffeine in it.
It does. So I've started, because I drink lots of tea, so a few months back I started to drink decaffeinated more than the ordinary stuff.
Brilliant, okay. And do you try and make sure that the last drink before you go to bed is decaffeinated?
Yes.
Brilliant, okay. Because obviously caffeine is a stimulant, okay? Okay. And if you've got sleep problems, okay. So is there anything else before I move on?
No, that's it.
Okay, right, okay. So that's the sort of end of the questioning part right now.
Okay.
And now what I want to do is really try and make sense of what's happened for you, really. And we do that using what's called a CBT model, okay? And the model we use in this service is called the 5 areas model, okay? So if I just show you. So we look at the situation, okay? And the situation is, what would you say the situation is?
This would be work problems, would that
Work
be?
problems, yeah? And being off sick, isn't it? Because you're not doing things, are you, while you're being off sick? Okay. So if we look then at the impact that is having on your behaviour, you told me that you're avoiding seeing people, yeah?
Avoiding
housework, yeah. Avoiding cooking, yeah. And avoiding socialising. Mainly things that you've stopped doing, isn't it? Right, okay. So then if we look at the types of thoughts that generates, okay. So the thoughts then could be...
I'm a failure.
I'm a failure.
That I can't cope.
I can't cope.
I'll never cope.
And I'll never cope, yeah. Okay. And when you have these thoughts, if we look at the type of emotions, okay, and you mentioned sadness, didn't you?
Yes, sadness. I suppose there's some anger there.
You mentioned anger because of the situation you're in, okay.
And guilt.
And guilt, you mentioned, didn't you? Okay. And then if we look at the physical sensations, okay.
Yeah, I was getting like headaches and
nausea, tiredness, yeah? Okay. So what I want to show you now is how all of these things are affecting each other, okay? So this one situation is generating all these changes.
Right.
The reason I want to show it is because I want to show you how working on one of those may well change how the other elements, okay?
Yeah.
So you've got situation problems being off work, which is making you avoiding housework, okay? So we say avoiding housework. So you avoid housework, it makes you think you're a failure because that was something that you had very strong routines for, okay? Making you think you're a failure makes you maybe really sad that you're not doing those things anymore. And that sadness, what would make you feel sick, it make you feel tired?
Yes.
Which one would you say?
I suppose, physically sick and sometimes headaches as well.
Physically sick and headaches, okay. And those physical sensations are really stopping you being able to deal with the situation, aren't they?
Right, yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you just don't feel as if you can do anything.
Yeah?
Okay. So if, for example, we were to get you doing more housework, so if we sort of like broke that cycle there, the situation of being off sick, where you stop doing things, if we got you to do more housework, What type of thoughts would you have? Would it change how you think?
I think it might be, it'd probably give me some, actually, I am coping, I can cope a bit better.
You can cope, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things are awful, but I'm
But I
still
can still
managing.
cope, yeah.
So what type of emotions would that generate?
I suppose certainly it'd be kind of like, I'd feel happier about it.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
okay. And then do you think that then might reduce the physical symptoms that
Yes,
you're
I'd
having?
be less worried, I'd be less tense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we remove the physical sensations, it might mean that you feel physically stronger to be able to deal with work.
Right, okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. And what I'm thinking of is that because a lot of your issues seem to be around avoiding things, behaviours, what I'm thinking is that's the area we're going to look at.
Right. I think I'd feel better if I started doing a bit more as well.
Right, so that's the one that you think would be really helpful. So we're on the same page, aren't we?
Okay.
Yeah? And there's a lot of evidence base about if you increase someone's behaviours, then their mood increases, okay?
Right,
And then they can cope better.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so what I'd like to do now, just before we nearly finish, we're nearly at the end, Joe, honestly.
Right,
We're at
okay.
the home stretch now, Joe, okay, is create what we call a problem statement. And this is something that we can check every time we talk, just to make sure that sort of like how things were at the beginning and hopefully measure how they are now, each session, okay. And what we start off with a trigger, so what started it? So would you like to write it?
Oh, no, you can write it.
Okay, so what would you say started it? A sentence.
Right, okay. Since, I don't know how to word it really without making it sound complicated. 6 months ago, my job was being reviewed.
Yeah. Ago, my job came under review.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Okay. So then we need to look at sort of like, I think we could start with an emotion really on that, because that probably generated some feelings, didn't
yes,
it?
Did. I felt angry about this.
I felt angry about this.
Yeah.
Okay. So then how did it affect you, sort of like, say, a behaviour?
I went off sick from work.
I had to go off sick from work. And what type of behaviours are keeping up now?
I think, I avoid dealing with...
And I am now avoiding dealing with it. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So what type of physical sensation does that generate?
I feel nauseous.
This makes me feel nauseous.
And tense, I suppose.
Yeah. And tense. And what type of thought does it generate?
That I can't cope, that I've failed.
And I think that I can't cope and I am a failure. Okay. And overall, what's the impact having on your life?
I feel it's starting to overwhelm me.
I feel overwhelmed.
Yes, I feel overwhelmed.
Okay. Right, okay. So if I read that back to you,
Yeah.
okay? So 6 months ago, my job came under review. I felt angry about this and I had to go off sick from work and I am now avoiding dealing with it.
Yeah.
This makes me feel nauseous and tense and I think that I can't cope and I am a failure. I feel overwhelmed.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll use that each time. We'll come back and we'll look. And what I want to do is, what my hope is that at the end of your last session with me, that doesn't apply at all.
Right, okay.
Things have changed. Okay? All right? Okay. So we're nearly at the end now. So what I just need to check with you is, how do you feel about working together if we look at increasing activities?
Yeah, I suppose I feel a bit more positive about it now than I did earlier on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I was to ask you now in terms of, you rated yourself motivation-wise, I think
5. It was
5 at the beginning. Thank you. If it was asked you to how motivated you are to change now, 0 being not motivated and 10 being highly motivated,
I would say 7. Certainly.
Okay, brilliant. So already we've seen an increase, haven't we? And hopefully we'll carry on doing that. Okay. I just need to check with you in terms of what you think you need to be able to change. What things do you need? What people and what do you need from yourself to change?
I need a bit more. I suppose I need some more structure, basically. And I think if I have some more structure and I have some more activities, And the activities then would depend on who else are needed, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
I don't need other people to do the garden. I need other people to play snooker.
Yeah, yeah.
So
there's things that people that you could call on.
Yes.
But it sounds like you're already thinking about what do I need to do myself.
Yes.
Which is exactly what CBT
Right.
is about. Because CBT is about me helping you to make the changes yourself.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'm thinking in terms of what an intervention called behavioural activation, which is about increasing your activities,
Right,
which is
okay.
exactly what you told me you wanted to do. So what I'd like you to do between now and the next time we meet, I'd like you to take this information
Thank
about behavioural activation and have a read of it. And here's some information about the service
Thank
and
you.
my role, okay? And here's a little bit of information about low mood, okay?
Right.
How do you feel about reading that before the next time we
Yeah,
meet?
fine.
Okay, brilliant. And then finally, what I'd just like you to do is what's really going to be really helpful for me is if you could just start a diary of what you do between now and the next time we
Okay.
meet. Okay?
Like, all the activities. that
All
I
the
do.
activities. If there's not much in there, it doesn't matter
Right,
because
okay.
my job is to help you put more in
Okay.
there and do it. So don't worry if there's not much in there.
Mhm.
It's a really bit like the questionnaire sheet.
Oh,
it
right,
gives us
okay.
an idea of where you are now.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a diary sheet if
Thank
you can
you.
complete that. Does that make sense to you? Do you need to ask me anything?
No, that's all right.
Okay. So I make note. I'm sure that what I've asked you to do is. You've understood it, I've explained it well enough. What is it you're going to do between now and the next time we meet?
Okay, so I'm going to complete another questionnaire.
Yeah,
I'm going to read about low moods and behavioural activation.
okay.
I'm going to keep the diary, maintain the diary for the next week.
Right, okay. So all this is factoring in the fact that I think that what you're experiencing is low mood and definitely the intervention will be tailored towards that.
Right.
Is that okay?
Yes.
How do you feel about meeting face to face or do you want to work on the phone?
Could you have the next one face to face?
Absolutely fine, okay. And here's some more outcome measures for you to
Oh, thank
complete,
you.
if you can do one for each session.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can always ask me for more information if
Okay.
you need to. Is same time next time, same time date next?
Yes,
okay?
next week. Yeah, great.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you, Joe.
Cheers,
Okay,
thank you very
look
much.
forward to working with you. Yay!